Welcome back to another episode of Motivational ANGE. Today's video is going to be very special because I will be sharing with you all the study technique that I have used to become very successful in my academic life. When I look around, I see so many people that struggle to study. So I wanted to share with you all the technique that I've been using to be successful in my academic life. Because I believe that sharing is caring. If you believe sharing is caring, like the video right now, subscribe, turn your post notification bell on and subscribe and share the video. Alright. Alright, so before I show you physically how I study, I want to verbally explain how I do it. So I use mnemonics and I use memory palace. Mnemonics is basically the use of acronyms, the use of images, the use of musical sounds that you make from your work to help you memorize your work faster. Let me give you an example. A good example is let's say that you have to memorize the 7 life processes of life, and that is movement, reproduction, sensitivity, growth, respiration, excretion, and nutrition. So, an easier way to memorize that is to use mnemonics. Mnemonics says that you can use acronyms to summarize your work. So I would make the acronym Mr.'s Grin. Mr.'s Grin has 7 letters, and each letter represents a process from the 7 life processes of life. So M from Mrs. Grin represents movement, R from Mrs. Grin represents respiration, S from Mrs. Grin represents sensitivity, and so on and so forth. Mnemonics is a very powerful technique. Apply it, and the workload becomes less because you are working smarter and not harder. Work smart, but not too hard. Catch the phrase. All right. Next example is very silly, but it's very effective. Singing. Making music out of your work is very effective. For example, let's say you're forced to memorize the order of the planets from the sun. The order of the planets is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. But let's say you sing that order. Let's say you sing it. For example, you say Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, not Pluto, not Pluto. You see, when you sing your work sometimes it sticks faster. It's very effective to some people to sing their work out to themselves. That's the power of mnemonics. Don't underestimate it. Use it because it's very effective. I know it because I've done it myself and it's very effective. So I encourage you to use mnemonics. All right? Next one. The next one is Memory Palace. Memory Palace is the king of kings. Memory Palace is basically when you associate what you learn to something in real life. Let's say you have to memorize different types of cars and you're struggling to memorize different types of cars. Let me tell you what you do. Use Memory Palace. For example, let's say I have to memorize the Corvette, I have to memorize the truck, I have to memorize the Ferrari, I have to memorize the Lamborghini. Let me tell you how I'll memorize that stuff. So the Corvette would be tied to the chair because the chair has a C. So whenever I think of a chair, I will think Corvette. Whenever I think of a ladder, I'll think Lamborghini. Whenever I think of my fridge, I'll think Ferrari. You see, I'm associating what I'm learning to something in real life. And that's how, when you memorizing, it becomes easier because what you're learning is basically on a real life object, if that makes sense. Memory Palace is very powerful. Use it. Don't underestimate it. It will work wonders in your life. Believe that. If you believe that, comment down below, like, share, comment, subscribe. thumbs up. All right. So, next one, guys. Next one. Now it's time to tell you guys. It's time to tell you guys um um the next technique that I'm going to say right now that I've seen being going around should stop. This technique is called the parrot method. Me and my friends call it the parrot dog method to make a joke out of it. But the parrot method is called the parrot method because you are basically learning your work like a parrot. And that means you don't try to understand your work, you're only trying to memorize it for the time that you need it. And that's why it's very ineffective. Don't use the parrot dog method. Only use the parrot dog method if it's very urgent and you have no time to study. Alright? The parrot dog method is limited, okay? Use mnemonics and use memory palace. Those are very effective. Okay? Parrot dog method. I'm guilty of that. I've used it sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we're human beings. Anyways, don't judge. Alright, now, before I show you how I study physically, I want to tell you guys something. We all get types of learners, right? We get auditory learners, we get visual learners, we get read and write learners, and we get kinesthetic learners. I'm more of a visual learner because for me, once I see something, it sticks. I believe my brain, your brain, is very powerful. I believe everyone's brain is powerful because our brain is basically like a camera. Once our brain sees something, it goes store. Bet money. Bet money right now. I can bet you 10 Rand right now. If you see something outside, you're going to know it in your head. You aren't going to forget about it. If you see a nice car outside, you're going to know that car in your head. You aren't going to forget about the car. The car will stick in your head. Because your brain is a powerful camera. Your brain captures that car. The same way your brain captures your work. When it sees it visually. You know, that's why whenever I study, I always study with my computer. Because first of all, I use memory palace and I use mnemonics, right? But the third most powerful one I use the computer. Because the computer will give me videos that I can see and visualize what's going on. The computer, I repeat, will give me videos that I can see and visualize. And once I visualize it, my brain will take a picture of it and store it. Because when you see it, you basically stored it. You see, the power of the brain is very powerful. Now, let me take you on my vlog. Let me show you how I study right now. Alright. And if you are more of a read and write learner, more of a kinesthetic learner, more of an auditory learner, try and implement visual learning into your learning. Because I feel like visual learning is very effective. Because it helps you a lot. It helps with memory retention a lot. Once you see it, it sticks. Try and mix it with your learning style. I promise you, it helps a lot. Alright. So for me, when I study, I always study in a very quiet place because in a quiet place you can find the most peace and harmony in yourself and study at the best times for you. For me, I study early in the morning and between, let's say, 4 to 6 in the afternoon. That's like my prime time to study. But find your time to study and study at your times, because we're all different. Do what works best for you. All right. And now also find a good study environment. Study in an environment that's not very populated with so much dirt. Study in a clean environment. It helps memory retention. All right. So for life science, we have been learning about genotypes and phenotypes. I've heard our teacher explaining it, I've seen it in the textbook, but now I want to visualize it, like in great detail. So I'm watching a video on YouTube to explain the work to me. This is the way that I learn. I first use Memory Palace, and then I use mnemonics, or the other way around, that doesn't matter. And then the third way I use is a video to help me visualize it. Because once your brain sees it, it sticks, remember? Because your brain is like a picture, like a camera. Once it sees something, forms a memory. Your brain is the biggest camera, I believe, in this whole world. Alright, now let's learn with me. See the video right here? Genotype and phenotype. I searched it up. Now let's watch the video.
Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about genotypes versus phenotypes. So when you have a trait, that is a pair of alleles, such as big B, or little b, we can refer to them in two different ways. The first is the genotype, which refers to the exact pairing of the alleles. For example, if we're dealing with eye color and there are two alleles, a big B for blue eyes and a little b for green eyes, then there are three possible genotypes: big B, big B, little b, or
See?
little b.
You see now,
Right, so
now
these are
it
the
becomes
genotypes.
way easier now. It becomes way easier now to understand the work. It becomes way easier now to comprehend the work, you see. And now let's say you are writing your exam right now and they ask you a question about genotypes and phenotypes. Now the first thing you can do is think back to either your memory palace techniques, think back to your mnemonic techniques, or think back to the video you saw on YouTube just now, like the one I showed you just now. See, you have three things to fall on if you start to panic. So always have three techniques at least, three powerful techniques. And I hope this video helps you guys out. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright? Cheers. Love you guys. And up next is a couple of study motivational quotes that me and my friends put together. Enjoy them. See you next video. Love you. Cheers.